Why, hello there. It is, of course, Chelsea of She Designs Things. And in today's video, I am going to be critiquing some of your Google sites that you have submitted to me. So, of course, let's just go ahead and jump into the video. All right. So, first and foremost, in order to do a design critique of your Google sites, I have to set some parameters. Now, web design and design in general is subjective. However, human beings gravitate towards things that are symmetrical. I am going to be critiquing these designs based on just common layout and common form. I'm not going to really critique the designs based on its uniqueness as far as like the styling goes, but I will be going over the purpose of the site, the use of call to actions, just the visual impact, the content, the navigation, the typography, like the font pairings and contrasts, and then of course if they have designed it to be mobile friendly. So yeah, now you know the parameters in which I will be critiquing these designs. So let's start the critique. All right, so the first design that was submitted for critique is by Rukaya, and they submitted this design here, which is K-Tech Electrical. So right off the bat, we will be greeted with kind of what it is that this company does in the header section that says domestic and industrial electrical services. And so we have a clear purpose as to what the site should be about moving forward. So let's just go ahead and start to dissect the site. So we have here in the background an image that I can't really quite see what the individual is doing. And just keep in mind, in a Google site, there is, when you are adding an image in the background, you can adjust the way it looks whenever that little, I want to say, anchor that comes up in the corner shows up. You are able to adjust the location and how the image is placed on your site. But for now, I would fix only that. Now, moving on down, we see that in the second part of the site, we have two images here. One looks like kind of like a box with electrical components, and then we have some tools of the trade that are located down here. So, nice use of images that actually have a purpose. They are impactful when it comes to the design. They don't hinder the design. So, there's not a photo of a moose, when we're talking about an electrical site. So, that is a wonderful use of images. I would have liked to see cleaner images, but this, is still a pretty good use of images inside of any website that you design. Next, we have this part. It does say who we are, and then kind of a welcome to K-Tech Electrical Services, your go-to source for all things electrical. We are a team of highly skilled and licensed electricians dedicated to providing top quality services to residential and commercial customers alike. I would remove the ellipses. That's just, not necessary because you already have the button indicating what you want someone to do. So it's not purposeful to have the ellipses. So drop that and just, add a period. The call to action here is read more. Now, back in the header, I totally skipped over this call to action, but there is a call to action here which says to get in touch. However, I do see that it is lacking some of the, what I would call, right underneath that hero section. You have to have a little bit more context usually, but I already have a clear indication as to what this company does, which is domestic and industrial electrical services, and it's telling me to get in touch. But I would, add this line here, right in here, to this section here, because it will give a bit more context in terms of the site. Now, we are doing this in a Google site, so you have to be specific in your placement and in your intention in regard to the Google site. So just keep that in mind. Now, scrolling down, we do get to, excuse me, we do get to the services section. So a typical layout, you'll have several spots of call to action, and you can learn more about this in my SEO for Google Sites video. But remember, this portion isn't about SEO, it's just really about getting your design aesthetic established, and then maybe in the future I'll start to do more, I want to say, comprehensive critiques. So we have our services, we have what they do, which is electrical contractor, industrial electrician, residential electrician, and CCTV installation. So we have a clear indication as to what services they provide. Nicely done on the spacing and the use inside of Google Sites. And then the fonts do pair quite well with one another. I do like the use, the font styling that they have selected to kind of go along with this theme. Now, going on down, we have some of our projects. The only thing that I would say about this, some of our projects, is I wouldn't call it some of our projects in this area. That's a little informal for this industry. I feel as though when you're talking about an electrical industry, if you've ever had a conversation with an electrician, yes, they're quite informal. They're very bluegrass, especially here in the US. So it's kind of knowing your audience. So if you're going to be designing a site in the US, in say Florida, I mean, a lot of times these older guys don't even write their own sites, and I should know. I used to create them. So um they like to sound professional, but when you have a general conversation with them, this is what they sound like. So just keep in mind your use of jargon when you are writing your site. So I would just say, instead of some of our projects, just our work, something that you have done. Keep in mind, I know this seems to be a critique, but make sure you are using different images. I know when you're trying to design a site for critique, it can be like, oh, I'll just submit something, kind of like anything for her to check out and see. But just make sure you are adding multiple images that detail what it is that you do. Because this is hard for me to say what it is that you do. All I see is a box and electrical components and some tools, and then a camera, but it's not really specific enough to tell me, you know, what it is that you have done in this job. So I'd like to see that more so in the projects page. Make these clickable so people can get an understanding of what it is that you did in that particular service when you are showing your portfolio, if you will, or the type of work that you have done in particular. So scrolling through, we have in this section the what our clients say, so that bit of social proof. So this is a good thing to have. Now I can see that this is a template and they have submitted to me, but I would definitely work to add something to this section here. Especially if this is for a live client, I would suggest, if the client doesn't have that social proof, to just remove this section altogether, because you don't want it to seem sloppy and not have this section here with the lorem ipsum. Now, going on down, we have the contact us. So I do like that you have the contact us, and then you also have the form. Now, I will say this. Google Sites is a little finicky when it comes to your form. But I would suggest just creating a form that is going to be centered. You have, when you're adjusting in your Google site, the option of a 3-column design. When you use the 3-column design and you just kind of make this one of the widths for that section, it it doesn't require you to drag this all the way down and have this really large gap of negative space. You can also embed the cognito form without having the scroll bar. So I know this happened because of the scroll bar that occurs in Google Sites, but there is a way to fix that if you have that as an issue. All right, so down towards the bottom, we have just an image. I suppose if this has a physical location for someone to visit, having a map would be great, or even a map of the service area to which this company or organization provides services would be great. And then, of course, we have that K Tech. Pardon, I'm getting over a sinus infection, so please excuse me. But we have that K-Tech in the sign, and then we have the footer with the social links down below. but no additional call to actions are located within this footer section. So let's just go ahead and breeze on over to the About Us page. I like that the About Us page has what I would like to call a lot of content. I would like to see a bit more images when it comes to the About Us page. And the reason I say this is you want to kind of show the team, show the business, maybe show some of the electricians working, whatever it is that the business does. If they have images, like if they do any community service, people are more apt to, working with businesses and organizations that, give back to the community. So I would recommend, if you're working with a client, to have them provide that to you. All right, so scrolling all the way down, I do like that there are FAQs located on this page, and that is super helpful. Now, I see here you have in the drop down menu mission, vision, and FAQ. I'm going to select mission, which is going to take me back to this page, and kind of just drop me back down to the mission section here located in the site. If I select vision, however, it drops me down to the vision section, but it does open it in a new window, and that's a caveat of Google. So I'm not going to, kind of, there's no ranking system as far as grades, but I'm not going to ding you points for that, because that is a Google issue. However, when I selected the FAQ section, while I am on this page, it does not open up in a new window. It actually just opens up here. All right, so now let's take a look at the Our Services page. And yeah, I really like the layout for the Our Services page. You kept it simple. A lot of times we want to get kind of goofy and get super creative, but this is, knowing the industry to which this is designed for, this is perfect. A lot of people um, don't need a whole bunch of fluff. Now, I will say this, you want to add call to actions underneath of each of these services, because right now it doesn't tell anyone what to do for the services, to be able to actually use the services. So I would like to see a call to action somewhere under here. And you don't have to have these smaller, shorter squares. If you have such long text here, feel free to add the text. So break this apart. I would actually add this image to the top, take this section here, add it underneath, because I know that in Google Sites it is a flex box system, so everything to the right is going to shift and stack on top of the content that you have placed to the left of the first part of this section. So I would add this electrical contractor, maybe just that on to the top of here, and then this paragraph right underneath the image, and then this would be a separate section in itself right here, but I would still have to add a call to action just for this particular service. And I would do that for all of these sections down here. Although you do have at the bottom, we're here for you to get in touch. A lot of people, if they are looking for a service, once they find the service that they are looking for, they're trying to secure that service. So that's what they're going to click on. And that just helps them from being able to have to scroll all over the place to find where it is that they can secure that service. All right, so I see that these are the same style, so I assume that they're just going to open up and drop down to that section, which is exactly what it did. Now, let's go to the Contact Us page, which is using that Cognito form, which you have, again, that large, I call them Grand Canyon size gaps because they are. The large gap that is located towards here at the bottom. I would suggest, making this smaller. There's nothing wrong with having a more compact Contact Us form. If you look at my site, I'm using a Google form. I switch it up. Sometimes I use a Google form. Sometimes I use like Formaloo and others, but they all roads lead to the same place. I'm constantly testing. So I always center it towards the middle to make a smaller form. And if you're making a smaller form and you have that map, by the way, you can add the map to the side of it and it would just give it a better look, and the page would not be as long and you wouldn't have to scroll for nothing basically down here. All right, and again, this is the Our Projects page, which I definitely would change up. If you're going to do a projects page, make sure you add some context as to what it is that what the project entailed, what service you provided. Again, it is an electrician service, so like an electrical service, which is going to be different based on the demographic area that you live in. But I know for me, if I were to look up like an electrician, it's going to be like, we offer a whole bunch of this, and you almost never see a projects page unless it's like in a major organization that worked on like government projects or something like that. So overall, I do think that this site has potential, and I would just implement the changes that I suggested. All right, so the next site was submitted by Simona, and here we are looking at a site that says, "Welcome to the Aquatic Leadership and First Aid Express. Learn at our location in King City or your location in Vaughan." And then right along the side here, which is the menu inside of this Google site, we see King and Vaughan on first aid, CPR, and aquatics. Now, I will say this, for the first aid, CPR, and aquatics portion of it, I would have to add something a little bit more contextual here. I assume in the area to which this site is presented that, you know, people are searching for a first aid, CPR, or AED instructor. Granted, I'll say this one more time. I did work in construction, like not in construction, but I worked for an apprenticeship, and one of the classes we taught was first aid, CPR, and AAD. So I'm quite familiar with this. All right. I bet all these sites are going to be like this. I'm going to be familiar with everything, every industry, but I digress. Moving forward, I would try to add just a little bit more here because it says, "Welcome to the Aquatic Leadership and First Aid Express." Um, I would definitely change this up. This would have to be a little bit more information as to what it is, what service you're providing in this area, because on smaller displays, the side menu does not display. All right, so scrolling down, we see here we are an advanced swim school and first aid training center designed to teach you life-saving skills in less time. And then we see a tagline here that says, "Have a pool. We offer mobile aquatic courses." So my suggestion, I do like this here. As far as Google Sites, this is going to read in the Google site, and I'll actually show you guys what I'm talking about right now. So here is a site called Open Graph. Open Graph basically is going to tell you what your social link will look like. This is super important because remember, in Google Sites, we cannot change things as far as our meta descriptions or add any of that information, but we can manipulate the sites enough so that we can have control over that, full control. So let me just share with you, when I add this site to here, and I'm going to just check the meta description, I know they have a logo in the top, so the logo is going to show up as a part of the social link preview. Then it says King and Vaughan on, and I think it's okay. I'm gonna say that could be the little straight line. I keep forgetting what it's called. First aid, CPR, and aquatics. So keep in mind, this is what the link will look like. Now, when it comes to that description that you have, it says, "We are an advanced swim school and first aid training center designed," and then it'll continue. So if you think about it, where is this information coming from? Well, if I go back to the site, this is the second text on the site, so it's not being read from the header. Traditionally, this information you can change what it looks like, but you don't have that option in a Google site. It's going to kind of read your site as you present it. So be very careful about the very next bit of text that you place on your Google site right after the header, because that is going to show up as your social link preview. So we have this bit of text here. And then, of course, the site name is here. Granted, that this isn't the site name exactly. This is the title. So this person did take what I said because I can see that it is, I think it's Simi's Life Saving Squad, and the site is actually Life Saving Squad and, airplanes, apparently. Sorry about that. They're always cutting me off. So just keep that in mind whenever you are trying to design your Google site, your placement of text. Now, scrolling on through, I do see you also took my suggestion of adding, that multiple background, which you are able to do. I do like that you have this. The fonts, I will say, choose a font. You do have two, but they are two, as I would call, very conflicting fonts. And I say that in the nicest way possible. So for example, everyone should be familiar with this font because I use it in my buttons quite often. I mostly just use it in my yeah, like as buttons, but this font is Julia Sands 1. And then this is one of Google's newest fonts here, which is, I think it's called Chuckle or Chickle or something like that. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. um, but yeah, these two fonts are what we call display fonts. Okay, so you want to not have these two competing power fonts. If you're going to go for a sleek design, you definitely want to stick with using Julia Sans 1. It is a header font. It is not a paragraph font because it is all capitals. So it kind of seems like the site is screaming at everyone. If you want, I do I'll make a video about font pairings because a lot of people ask me like, how do I find my design aesthetic? And I'll definitely try to get around to making a video for all of you to understand font pairings, because these fonts that we have in here also do not align with the fonts that we have on the site. So I suggest just trying, to make sure that your fonts are not competing for attention, which is what we have right now. They are all competing for attention. So yeah. All right, so scrolling down, I do see we have here small class sizes, courses for children, um, small class sizes, courses for children, youth, and adults, producing confident swimmers, lifesavers, and first aiders. So my suggestion on this part, these all seem like bulleted points that you want to use as to saying why to select your service. So why should people come to Simi's life-saving squad? You want to consider this whenever you are laying out that section. So we have it here, why Simi's life-saving squad. Say goodbye to 16 plus candidates in a course. You have it here. So it's repeated, but in a way that is not being beneficial on your particular site. So I suggest just trying to make that, trying to change that up just a little bit. Just this isn't necessary. Just put it that way. All right, going down, I do like that the background images do feature like aquatic things, pools, a beach. But then you have a competing style issue, which is what we have in here, which we have a color and branding problem. These colors of these images do not align with the site design. So my suggestion is to find or to create. If you are not very good at creating, there are packs that you can actually purchase. And then there's also a site that I absolutely love and adore, and I'll leave it down below, where you can change the colors of these. And you can also do this with Lottie files. And just to kind of make things easier, it's called Design Stripe, and I absolutely love Design Stripe. It is free to use. You can definitely give it a try. And you can change the colors of all of those little assets that everyone wants to have and not feel like, oh man, I don't know, how to change the colors, or you feel like you're stuck with those colors. And they export as PNG. And as you guys know, I don't do right now. Girl got to get paid, but I don't do sponsors. If I'm suggested something, it's because I actually use it. And so I really do love, love, love Design Stripe. So definitely go ahead and check it out. A link will be listed down below. All right, now coming on through, I do see you have a call to action. So, my biggest gripe, if you do this where you add that button to learn more, I want to see if the learn more is going to go to like scheduling. Okay, so here is how we register. Um so we register, it says our courses, and then I can register for first aid courses, aquatic courses. And then we have the button and some of the prerequisites, what's required. And to kind of make this easier, I would break these sections apart and like kind of center everything. Like if this section is going to be about for adults, make it for adults, like list that information. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to the homepage just to make this easier. I don't want to jump around too much. But because I've never visited this site, you can see the way that I am going to be using the site is going to be very similar to someone else who has never visited your site before. I often say, I actually never say this out loud, but you definitely want to share your site with friends and family who's going to provide you with feedback. Maybe you're going to have to put pressure on them because they'll always tell you, oh, it looks great. And they'll lie to you because family loves to lie to you. They love to tell you when things look good and it don't. Like that's how you end up with people on like The Voice and stuff who can't sing. Like you just got to be honest. So we want to make sure that maybe make these clickable. There are no actionable things, and these you can probably make actionable. So courses we offer, I would like to see that these actually link to the courses that you offer. You can do sort of the similar style they had on the last site where when you publish a site in Google site, you'll actually take that link. So when you, I don't know if you noticed this, but on particular sites, if you, where there's a header, this is a button, this is to copy that link. And then you'll copy the link. And then in your Google site, you'll actually paste it inside of this button to turn this into a link. So just how I copied that. I hope that makes sense. I really do. All right, so this is again just a lot to unpack on this homepage alone. You do have a bit of content, a lot of content to go on the site, and then I see your footer has potential. It just needs a little bit of switching it around. Not everything has to be open or displayed. Make use of the collapsible text to make your pages feel shorter because people hate scrolling through pages. So collapsible text is something that I highly recommend on a Google site. All right, so let's just take a look at the first aid and aquatic courses. Again, this is where you kind of list the courses, but the only thing I'll say is I don't see any um social proof. So I would like to see social proof from someone who has used the services. Now, if you are new, that is going to be super hard to get. However, you have social media links here. So let me take a look. I'm going to pause and look. Actually, no, I'll just resume and look. All right, so I see here that you have some social proof. And I do see here that you have you're posting regularly because St. Patrick's Day, I was literally sick that day. So I see that you are posting quite regularly for your new business and you have people that are following you. So if anyone has used your services, make sure that you ask them to provide you with feedback or to create, just a form so that people can, say leave that social proof. You definitely want to have like some client quotes that have used your service. All right, so I'm just going to go back to your site. And then we have a style problem here. If you're going to underline one area, that's going to make it a link. Underline anything that is associated with a link on your site. That will make your site appear cleaner. Now, I see here you have the button to leave us a review. So that's quite nice, but I would try to push that for people. And I will say this, it's quite nice that I am incognito and you do show up. So you are doing something correct. It's just a matter of making things come up better. And see here, you can actually take this as your social proof that you have here, where it says, "We are a team of life-saving society instructors." I see you have 119 votes, which is amazing. So if anyone has left you positive feedback, you definitely want to take that information from here and apply it to your site. And that will drive just a little bit more traffic to your site and make your site appear a bit cleaner. And actually, here we go. We have someone, this was literally just a month ago, and just 2 weeks ago, we have people who have left reviews for your business. So I'm so happy to see this, especially using a Google site. Just only thing you want to make sure is that you basically copy this information that you have and paste it on your Google site. You do not have to um use like elf site. I like to keep my content specific on my site. So if you were to copy this and paste it, just also copy the link that the person left the review for, so that people can link to the actual Google site review and see that it's a legit person has reviewed your site, because your social proof definitely has to come from a third party and not internal to yourself. So, all right, going back to the site, I am just going to breeze through the pages. I'm going to hit the About page. So we see we have on the About page the individuals who are the owner, and we have an instructor, which is wonderful. And then we have some more information regarding mentorships and to register for a course. And, I live in Florida, and I'll be honest, a lot of people here can't swim. I don't know how you live in Florida and can't swim. And we also have a lot of Canadians that come here. So, what up, A? I'm just like, please don't pay me attention. I know y'all don't say A like that. I do, though. All right. So I will say, if you're gonna do a blog, I used to say that to do a blog, you definitely you can do it in Google Sites. I eh, I'm gonna say do it somewhere else. If you wanna advertise, if you wanna, provide like um more like a better community somewhere where people can respond, do Blogger. It's free, it's a Google product anyway, and it integrates really well with your Google site. I'll try to throw a video up later. Again, I got a lot of videos, but throw one up about that as well. All right, so for the sake of this video, I am going to say that I would just implement the things that I suggested. Maybe changing your native font, because just so you know, the font style that's used inside of your menu is the font that matches on your site. You have competing fonts because you have an embed here. I'm assuming that this is being done with, I'm going to say Miller Lite. Yes, this looks like Miller Lite. I could be wrong, but I'm usually I'm usually good about these things. Just try to do some branding, and it will save you so much time, and you won't feel like there's just too much going on your site. So I will say that. And then I didn't do the mobile review of the last one, so I'm going to look at this one on a mobile phone. I always do an iPhone 12 Pro. It's just a quite common phone for me to do. I'm going to go back to the home page because that's usually where people land on your site. So I really like the way this looks. If you're finding that most people are viewing your site here, then you definitely want to make sure that you make your site mobile friendly. And then scrolling on down, we got what you offer. Again, I would try to make these clickable or something, since you discussed them down here in these sections. And just check out Design Stripe so that you can find ones that match your color palette, which is that deep blue and that sort of blush pink color. So I really do like the colors that you have selected for your brand. And I think that they work really well. They do remind me of like really like sandals resorts that have like that, the pink sand and the blue water, like stuff like that. There's a photo your color palette reminds me of. I know this is random, but this is what it reminded me of. This VW bus. This is actually a client site of mine, and this reminded me, your color palette reminds me so much of the blue here, just a darker blue, but it's like, the ocean, and I don't know, it just gives me that vibe. So very nice selection of colors. that complement the industry that you work in. All right, so for the sake of time, this is going to be the third and final site that I'm going to critique. And then I'll probably make another video for the other sites if you are still submitting sites. I have a whole bunch of you that have submitted, and I'm sorry if I didn't get to your site in this video. I wanted this to be as detailed as possible. So this site was submitted by, and I gotta make sure I pull up his name, by Charles. So Charles, this is your site. So let's just go and dive deep into this site. Now, I will say this, two things. um, this is a site for UPS. So I call them, and don't get mad at me about this, Charles. I call them brown clowns. I'm sorry, because I'm gonna tell you a little short story. I had a $2,400 custom computer that I had when I lived in Virginia that was being shipped and delivered down to me from the UPS store, right? They were supposed to package it and make it all nice. Well, they packaged it, they dumped it off at my house, and they cracked the corner of the screen. And this wasn't a touchscreen all-in-one display. It was like I want to say it was a 27-inch display that I had across the top that they totally cracked and refused to pay for. Luckily, HP was super kind and they replaced my computer. But for that reason, I'm really mad at them. So I might grade you a little harshly just because I'm a little biased right now. I'm still really mad about that. No, I'm kidding. I am going to go through your site with, honesty. All right, so this is an intranet from what I can see. That's why I see that it is a portal. For those of you unfamiliar with what a feeder is, just so you know, I should also say my significant other's brother is actually a UPS driver. Don't sleep on them. They make good money, okay? They stress and overwork, but they're not that bad. So this is just what the portal looks like. You are using the built-in Google theme, but you can create your own theme that is akin to the same style that they have for UPS if you prefer. But so far, this is not that bad when it comes to an intranet. Now, I see here someone was retiring, so we wrote about his retirement, and then we have a link here. This site, I will say, will be graded a little bit differently because, again, it is an intranet used to share information with a particular group of people in a particular company. Therefore, you really don't care about like the social aspects, like social media. You're not trying to have a whole bunch of people find the site because you only want the specific people that you're targeting, which is the Serica feeder people, like the ones who work there. So I want to make sure that I state that so that everybody knows that's what this one is. So we do have that this individual is retiring. We have this Grinch pre-trip challenge and this 2022 Christmas potluck. And it looks to me almost like it is a blog site. So that is really cute. I like to see blog style sites. It is totally fine for an intranet to have a blog style site. I will say you do miss that aspect of having people being able to comment, but I mean, do you really want them to comment? Sometimes, coworkers can do a lot. They can do a lot. So let's go ahead and just take a look at this first link here. So we have Dean's retirement. So congratulations to him for retiring. What a lucky human. And we just have images from the retirement. I would like to see, this comes from just an HR perspective as someone who, oh man, I had too many jobs in my life. Okay, so someone who worked a lot of the HR and style management stuff. um, I will say that I would like to see some more like text, like words of encouragement, just congratulations, or we wish you a happy retirement, and we hope that you have like the best retirement ever, or something like that. You definitely want to make sure that you just acknowledge it and don't just put images there, because people like to see words on the page. The images are nice, but just writing some kind words really shows that you care. Even if you have to make it up, like you could have totally hated the guy, but you don't know that. All right, so next I see we have these SoCal feeder locations. So I assume that this is located in California. Okay, so we have this. Click below for Google Maps and contact info to hubs, rail yards, airports, and other important locations. Please note that Google Maps may suggest a route that isn't a truck route. Keep that in mind when planning your trip. Thank you. So every UPS hub is very different. So I will say this, they're all very different. Like, so in South Florida, where my significant other's brother worked, they are given like the specific routes, and like the people who schmooze the most get the best routes, which is probably the case here. But I've never seen them have like a hub like this. I would have to ask him, but this is kind of a really nice idea if you're someone in management trying to find a way to um create like a center for your people to find information. So at the sake of trying not to display too much information on this site, well, it's public. What else can I do? I'm going to click on the site. So we have this a map, and we have this phone number, and then we have, of course, the names of the streets, the lots, notes, leave, trailer, and I'm not gonna say that no out loud. I'm gonna switch back. So these are just about the hubs, and that's really nice. Notes: say hi to the safety team. So that is very nice. Whoever did this really took the time and effort to map everything out. So that is something that I'm pretty sure goes unnoticed, but as a designer, I noticed it and I thought that, that was a really nice idea. And I like that you actually break it apart. Notes: don't have any good information about this rail yard yet. So that is quite nice that if something isn't available, like you don't have an image yet or you're working on it as a work in progress, that you state that. So I will say a nice job on creating this. And I suppose if there's like an error or an issue, that you'll update this pretty regularly. Google Sites is really easy to update on the go. You can do that on your iPad. I do all the time. Immediately after you cross. And I like that you have this, security check note for this particular area too. So that is super important for drivers to know. So nice job under the feeder locations for your intranet. So now we have these individual pickups. So I assume that these are individual pickup locations. So here you will find the address, SLIC alpha, and a Google Map link for each pickup. Some may also include further pickup instructions related to that stop. We will update often. I would change the verbiage of that just a little bit. I know it can be hard when you're writing. Have somebody else rewrite it for you for clarity. Just a note about when it comes to writing, and also um, writing for a business, try to use what we call formal language or polite formal language, which would be to remove anything pretty much with an apostrophe. I know that sounds strange, but I wouldn't say isn't. I would actually say is not, because if you get drivers who English is not the first language and they really don't use words like isn't, because that's really not common in when you're learning English. They will say is not for clarity. So I know it's weird. It's a weird thing, but super important when you're having a site that's like large like this, that's more like a corporate site. All right, so we have here, we got a gate code. And so it's similar style. I like that it's just very simple. But your categorizing of things is really good. And I the only thing I'll say is, if these are individual pickups, are we talking about a specific pickup area? The only thing I would suggest is it's a lot of It's a lot of buttons. Man, it is a lot of buttons. But, when you hover over them, you can see what it says in its entirety. Is there only one CVS? Because I got five CVSs within a 3-mile location of my area. I'm just surprised. So, when I click on this, it doesn't go anywhere. So check your links. Make sure the ones that aren't broken, just check those. All right. And then I don't know. I feel as though I would try and break it up if it was necessary. It's in alphabetical order. And that's something I didn't notice, and that's not automatic. So good job on you. You really took the time out to create this site, and I appreciate that. Your folks might not, but I appreciate it. All right, and then we have these lovely images here, and then we have email us. You could also do a button just to match the style, just so people can see that it's more clickable. But if you don't want someone to really click something, just doing a link like this is perfect because it'll go unnoticed. Because you are drawing attention to this section here. So this is a well designed um little intranet. It's quite cute, and I really like what you have done here. I like that you have these images and these videos and safety demos. Oh my God, if you were one of my apprentices, you should already know that you didn't get your first aid CPR done. Where's your high reach certification? Like, I was not very nice. But I don't play about safety. It's super important when you're talking about working with people and equipment and heavy machinery. Super, super important. So I appreciate it. All right. And I love these fact sheets. They are nice. This is just quite nice. What an impeccable job you have done under this little display of information. I do like these buttons here. And I know I haven't gotten even to like the what it appears like on a mobile phone, and the reason being is I have a feeling that they're using a regular theme and everything's already in alphabetical order, so it should come up quite nice. Um, but I digress. Let's just see what it looks like on a mobile phone real quick. And they really just them and their socks. Y'all got socks too, man. Them brown clowns. It's hot. Why y'all sell long sleeves? Okay, this is a suggestion. The drivers often have trucks that do not have air conditioning, and I have yet to see them provide them automatically with the SPF sleeves, and then make them buy their socks. It's just ridiculous to me. The UPS makes way too much money for them to be so cheap. And Airmark, I will not say anything disparaging about them, but I will say this. Airmark always had the grossest when they deliver. Never mind. Never mind. I'm not even going to get into that. That's just personal preference. All right. So, mobile view. Real quick, mobile view. I'm going to start with the homepage and just kind of breeze through the mobile view. Like I said, I really like the way that it's almost like a blog style. It's quite nice. I do wish there was a bit more context when it comes to like words on the page, but you did add some words here towards the bottom. So that's quite nice. And I get it when you're busy trying to maintain something like this. Hey! Oh, yes, I totally forgot that UPS, typically something like this is a union. So our UPS drivers and I am still a union member. I am a member of the IUPAT DC 78. All right, so let's see. We have individuals. I want to just take a look, see that alphabetical order. Very simplistic design. You can break it up if you want by like A, B, like, and in the sections, I would try to do something like that because it wasn't obvious to me that it was in alphabetical order. So that's the only real comment that I have, is just to add that alphabetical order, or just say that, hey, you know, all of the addresses are listed in alphabetical order. Because you have to plan for stupid, and it sounds harsh, but even I can admit that I sometimes I go somewhere and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like this, I feel so stupid. So just keep that in mind. Plan for idiocy. And these are quite nice. You did a great job on your intranets that you have created. for your drivers, and the loaders. So I really do like this. Great job. Great job all around. And just a really great job. Suggestions or corrections? Yeah. Very great job. So, yeah, just take what I said. You're already using a theme that works and you're keeping the style nice and clean. This is a great idea for someone who is trying to figure out what to do with like how to design a site and they don't know what they want to put because they have like they're working in a similar industry and it they're drivers. They drive a giant box truck. So I consider it very similar to working in construction. You still lifting heavy boxes and heavy stupid Amazon packages that people have. So kudos for taking the time to actually create something like this that's functional and works well and doesn't cost you a dime, and kind of share the love because union sites are almost always awful. And construction sites are almost always terrible. Almost always, almost. All right, so I do hope this video, while extraordinarily long, was super helpful in helping you guys understand what goes into a really nice designed Google site. I was really happy to go through some of these, and I can't wait to get to the next video of sharing with you some of my other site designs that you have submitted. So if you want to see more of these critique videos, don't forget to definitely comment down below that you want to see more critiques. And if I used your, site in this critique, just let me know. And then, yeah, share the love. All right, guys, it's been super helpful talking to all of you. Well, to myself. And I thank you so much for checking out my videos. And of course, see ya. All right, so for the sake of time,